Thanks a lot. So, yeah, I'm Tobias, and I will start it slowly today. So there will be a bit around devices as such, so how we handle devices in general at MediaMarktSaturn. Then why we chose to give out the option of bring your own device as well as choose your own device, and what's our path there. And then also in the end, pick a bit on how bring your own device actually is secure, helping us to secure our environment a lot better than it used to be before. So first interesting thing is what I will tell a bit about is today that basically first what we are doing is we focus on technology, also on security, then to like long term not focus on technology and security, but to focus on UX. So we leverage technology focus first, and afterwards focus on user experience actually, and don't care about the rest. You will see why. I will explain this in the end, and then also like summarize that. Endpoint management. So as I was saying, so basically that's for us the main part about like the importance and the baseline of security. What we do today, what's coming, what's the industry standard, and so on. What we as MediaMarktSaturn do and are going to do in the future. So the future device things there, what augmented reality is going to be for us, nothing, and what the future is bringing there. And of course, as I was saying, the BYOD learnings. Like just starting with a bit of context. I'm supposed to stand in the lines here. Bit hard. So basically, if you see on the right side, maybe some of you will know it. This is the classic imaging street. So you have like hundreds of computers that you can put a manual image on, which is the manual provisioning. Then usually what companies have. I'm not saying that this is MediaMarkt, but this is usually the standard. I will tell you what we have as MediaMarkt. The fragmented device inventory. So you don't know who has a device, and maybe some people in your inventory will have 150 devices because they were administrators that just give them out. Then you don't particularly do the regular updates. So you would have a like patching for your devices. About 80% is the average, I think, or 85% reached in the first 4 weeks. Whereas you should aim for 96, 98 or something like this. Endpoint security, which we see as super tight to the whole endpoint area actually. So it's not like classic, you have a security unit in like a cybersecurity unit, and you have an endpoint unit but those are separate departments. This is not working as we found. This has to be one. Otherwise, and that actually helped us a lot. I will also say why later on the BYOD part. Otherwise, those two will just follow different goals and don't care about the others. Obviously, like Slack, not as the tool Slack, but you have a lot of old stuff on those machines that you don't find. Like a funny thing, for example, for us was we had a I don't know, 8 or 9 year old program running on the machine. We didn't know. The effect was every day you were like at 8 o'clock in the morning, you were logged out of everything in Chrome. I don't know why. Like you linked in, you log in past evening, and then next day, 8 o'clock in the morning, bam, you logged out. And then we were looking for this like half a year. It was super troublesome because everybody in the company had to log in again every morning at 8 o'clock. And it was so annoying. And then at some point, after half a year, by accident, we found that there was an 8-year-old program hidden in another program as bundled as one Excel file, executing a clear like cache and cookie clearance every morning at 8 o'clock. So that caused then basically everybody to be logged out, and that caused a lot of trouble. And we also found that there's other stuff hidden in those old the old configs, the old Slack, the legacy stuff that we had on the machines, which actually caused a couple of security issues. So things that we didn't know, but opened up some ports, opened up some holes, and things like this. So to stay up to date from that perspective actually helps a lot. This is also why we went completely with a fresh image and said, okay, we don't care about the old stuff, but start fresh and get rid of Internet Explorer. We did enforce the MDM. More to that later on, like mobile device management, so that all the devices are managed, which wasn't the case before. And people need to have an easy access to to operate or administrate themselves. If they have to open a ticket, call a service desk that doesn't understand them, and then it's troublesome, they don't do it, and that potentially causes issues. Like, for example, hey, I'm seeing a weird message here, then they need to have an easy access to report this. And if they find that there's a burden, so they don't do it, that's why that's basically the number one thing of people not reporting it in, and then you don't find those potential security holes. What we saw as movement forward, and also this like applies to us, and that's also how we move forward. We basically see that the market went far with from the old desktop towers, most of you will know, with a loud fan and so on, towards more portable devices. Now we have laptops that are portable, right? Quite nice. The Ultrabooks, very good looking and very portable. Back. And this is good, but now this is standard. We see that smartphones are coming into the market, so basically they're getting more powerful with like every week. Basically, what we see is that things like Samsung DeX, for example, Apple doesn't have it yet, but in the Android world it exists. Also, Motorola comes with this. They basically empower your smartphone to connect it to a monitor with keyboard, everything, and then you have a full-blown desktop, more or less. This is not yet there, so it's not like you leverage it or use it 100% to your custom need or something like this. But I think in the next 1.5 years, this will be like getting way more powerful. So this is something that will be used also then in stores. So we are also perceiving that like this is the future for us in the stores, not have desktop computers, but rather focus on smartphones. From a security perspective, also this is a major benefit because you don't want to patch a full-blown computer that is highly customizable with thousands of loopholes. But you would like to have a capsulated smartphone with iOS. Not saying that iOS doesn't have any issues, but it's way easier to handle this, wipe it from remote, and it's easier to manage it basically. And that said, this is now the next 2 to 3 years. This is happening. Looking at the next 5 to 10 years, what we see is that wearables actually will hit in. So what we see right now, that the Apple Watch, if you look at the past 2 to 3 years, it became way more powerful. And looking at the next 3 to 5 years, then wearables will slowly take the place of smartphones. Not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but again, 5 years and onward, this will happen. And we see that our like the sales associates on floor or something like this, they will then not have a smartphone anymore, but they will just have the watch basically. So that's future guessing, but I think this is the way that we are exploring it right now, and also the way how it's going to, like we perceive it's going to go. We also see that for us, every person has a smartphone already, so everybody is equipped and everybody is connected. But we do see that also in manufacturing industries, many more let's say field workers, production workers, shop floor workers, people like that are more and more equipped either with their private smartphone, then connected via BYOD, or with other technologies like, I don't know, a company device that is like a cheaper rugged device or something like this. So they are more and more equipped, and this means that you have way more devices, and also you have not the classic IT security guy that knows usually what to do in terms of like there's a phishing email, what do I need to do? But you have many more people that tend to not know what to do with in a corporate IT environment, for example, and they tend to not look a lot after those things. So this is why more devices with more people in areas where it wasn't the case before also opens up potential threats for sure. And like you will want to manage sensor technology in a good way, because just dropping them there, like the electronic price tags, this is something that was just there, was managed with some proprietary technology, and it wasn't really security-wise controlled. This is also why those ESL tags that are in stores had massive security issues usually, and got frequently hacked by whoever, right? What we do not see is augmented reality and virtual reality in the next 5 years. So metaverse is something like this. Yeah, it's in the exploration phase, but if you actually look who is using it and what to use it for, it's not really relevant for us. And us in retail business especially, we don't see this coming, and we just see this coming if it's mass deployed for people. If people can use it, then it's good for us as well. But at the moment in the working environment, I don't see this coming the next 5 years, or not significantly, in the retail or the environment for end users as well. No. I particularly didn't put any numbers here, so you need to listen. What we have as MediaMarktSaturn, we have around 50,000 smartphones, as well as I think around that 50,000 additional devices. We have 450 Macs, so not as much. But what we did is we made sure that we gradually move away from our on-premise managed 50,000 Windows computers and move them all to the cloud. So we make sure that everything that we have had on-premise is potentially vulnerable, because if your AD is down, all your computers are gone somehow. But if you move this to the cloud, then it's highly unlikely that this is going to happen. So this is was our focus, obviously, move cloud, like make computers cloud connected, or at least co-managed, basically, to move them there. What we did is we moved away from, which was basically a deadly mission to move everything to Intune. So we went away from an old school Workspace ONE system on premise, which was also a potential threat to security. We said, okay, this is not future proof. It's going to be very expensive and it's not scalable. So we need to move this. And it's an on-premise system connected to everything on-prem. So if this gets injured somehow, then we have a big problem on-premise. So what we did is we moved this to the Microsoft Cloud, to Intune, that we had to wipe every smartphone. And imagine telling 50,000 smartphone users to wipe their smartphone was not easy. They were shooting us constantly, and we were about to die, but we made it then in the end and moved towards Microsoft Intune, which was a really good choice, because this is now 100% automated, and we can operate all of those smartphones with one person. So it's super simple and actually highly secure. So the way we set it up now should be best practice. More to that later on. Mac is also the same thing. We did this with Jamf. I think that is industry standard. It's 100% automated. So also this we tried to eliminate human error there as much as possible to make it secure as well. But this is something that is also now fully automated, and it doesn't matter if it's 10,000 Macs or 5 Macs. It's all the same. So it's fully automated. That makes sure that every Mac is set up the same way, and that also makes sure that there is no loophole for anybody, or that an issue with somebody setting up, like a human error, will cause some issue on one or the other Mac then in the end. Then the last part is to do the same thing for Windows environment, to also fully automate it, and to make sure that you cannot open you steal a laptop and then you open it and you could do some harmful things. What we're waiting for is currently SD-WAN, because our stores are not perfectly connected, because they're sometimes in remote areas and so on where there's not a brilliant network connection. So we're waiting for let's say, network upgrade in all the sites, so we can go fully towards autopilot from Microsoft, meaning that everything is then 100% automated. Every client will be set up the same way. And then what I just said for Mac will also then apply for Windows, which is, of course, more important, as it's 100 times more. Then what we thought then is basically, if you look at the user experience, how people want to utilize devices and how they want to experience their way around at the shop floor when selling something, or in the back office, or in headquarters all across the globe, what they want to do is they want to utilize the device that they like. So I don't like Android devices, for example, but I like iPhone, for example. So I want to work with this. On the other hand, some people will have for sure preferences for a Samsung phone, so they also want to work with this. So the thing is, for us, the way forward is, and this is what we see more and more, people that come in, they come like just recently we hired one employee. He said like, I just bought this 5,000 euro MacBook. I want to keep it, and also I have this, I don't know how many euro type of iPhone. I also want to keep it. And this is basically, and they said because they have their stuff on there to do their job, this is a lot better for them. And they also do some other stuff, so they don't want to switch all the time. And this is something that we need to accommodate, like especially as an electronic retailer, you need to be able to cope with these requirements. For us, what we will for sure, or what we are doing right now is, and that also, like what I said earlier, around how to manage endpoints, we will allow people to choose their own device. So if they want a special type of Apple computer, okay, they can get it because it's all the same. Like it doesn't matter if they have this Apple Studio display with a Mac computer attached or something, or they have a MacBook. It just doesn't matter. It's just a MacBook that is operated by and automated by Jamf. The same thing counts for the Windows computers. That's a bit different. So there's computers like the Huawei machines or some specific Samsung models or whatever, or especially also consumer notebooks that you cannot just deploy. You need to also there watch out that they're manageable, have a security chip and stuff like this. This is why we cannot provide them all the devices, but we for sure can extend our device portfolio with this setup a lot. In a secure way. Before this, and there was the problem before this, we did also extend our device portfolio, but it wasn't secure. Of course, BYOD support, that's what I just said. Like people come in and say, oh, I have these like 10,000 euro worth devices, I want to keep them. So why exchange them with something cheaper? So they want to keep it. And this is something that we definitely need to support. I will tell a bit about that in the next slide on BYOD. And in order to do so, like to secure our, let's say, legacy apps or the not native cloud apps, what we did for BYOD especially was to virtualize them and then also push them to the BYOD client so they can come with whatever device they have, but then basically use it in a virtualized way. As I was saying, we don't see augmented reality, virtual reality coming with any significant dominance in the retail sector. This might be different in very specific use cases, but I don't know, digital twin or things like this in the production area. But for us, this is just very small use cases, nothing on like mass deployment that needs some kind of device management for now. This is isolated cases, but also prone to have security issues. So this is why we keep them super isolated out of the environment if those use cases appear. And as I was saying in the beginning, what we want to do is not only to allow more devices and to be failure proof, we move this to the cloud, but also the thing is that we just don't want to care anymore. So for us, device management, like as you were seeing before, it just gets commoditized and automated. So for us, it's not something to gain value or money. It just has to run. And once this is 100% automated or perfect, like 100% cloud managed, I think that the focus will be user experience. So how, like if they have the device and they're working, then how are they doing this? How do they return it? And all those processes have to be really nice and well made for the experience that people get then basically. So it's not the operational focus, but it has to be the user experience focus basically. But there's also the security part. So what we aim, of course, is, and that's something we need to watch overall, is that the security part keeps getting maintained by the cloud providers like Microsoft, for example. And once that is the case, we're also good there as well. And then full focus on user experience can happen. So last part, the BYOD learnings that we had. A very interesting thing when we started, I think many years ago, as we are electronic retailer, you can, like the shop employees or the shop manager, for example, they see the shelf with the super nice golden iPhone, 5 billion terabytes of storage and super fast. They see this there and they can just take it. So they could just potentially take it and then log into all the corporate resources. This was possible in the past. So people just basically did it. And from a corporate perspective, we just provided one type of iPhone, one type of Samsung phone, and that was it. And the store managers were not allowed to get a certain class of iPhones, so they had to take it from the store if they want to have a brilliant one with 50 cameras on the back or something. So this is something that they did. They just took something out of the shelf, which is not a corporate managed device, but it's some consumer device. So this is what they did. And then they logged into Exchange with ActiveSync, and then they logged into other resources. And obviously, if you have some keylogger on the device, anything else, then of course you have issues. And this is why then at some point we forced, or we went towards the fully corporate managed devices. We expanded our product portfolio, and then it was very, very hard for that. So this hybrid setup, basically, as I was saying, to have people taking things from the shelf or people taking consumer smartphones. Plus, also we have an environment of enterprise managed devices. This is a very dangerous mix because you cannot control the first mass, basically, and usually high potential people, upper management, they have super nice devices and they are lazy to switch, so they will go for this managed, not controlled devices, basically. And this was very hard to take it away from them. So, like if we tell them, okay, good, now return your device or remove it, you get a new one, they will just say, screw you, we don't do this. And what we did then is basically for all of them, we applied a company profile, which is then basically encapsulating all of this, and then we pushed a lot of conditional access policies on this. So basically we forced that if there is a keylogger, jailbreak devices, or anything beyond a week behind the latest update, then they get blocked and they have no access to anything anymore. Of course, this is a lot better for enterprise control devices. So that means like our corporate owned devices, you can just click and then there is mass deployment of the recent security update. So this is also why we went ahead and forced our top management to use company controlled or company owned devices, which should be standard. But as an electronic retailer, this was very hard. And then also, if you force people to use our devices, then you have to give them also a variety of devices, which is why it's very essential for us, as I was saying earlier, that you provide more devices. Otherwise, they would just say, screw you, I just take my own device. And then that would just cause issues. What we did is actually, obviously, looking at this, we had a massive improvement in security, coming away from they just do whatever they want to completely take all of this away, and then we apply conditional access policies, put a company profile on those leftover devices, and actually now that we offer more variety of devices, people like to get a company phone. And this is actually also a great improvement with security because we have full control over those devices. And the other part, which was very interesting, is it actually also improved now thinking about how to control and whatever stupid things people can do with their own private device. This actually improved also security for the rest of our fleet, for the enterprise smartphones, basically. Because we thought then, okay, good, what can you potentially do as a personal, as a person with your personal phone? You just don't do updates because you just don't care, or you don't connect to Wi-Fi because you don't have it at home, and then you have just normal 5G. The iPhone won't update, and then you are left with 3 months no updates, for example. And this is all of those things happen, and that got us thinking in a way that what potentially persons that are not so IT focused could do. And that basically brought us to tailor and really nail down all the policies to a very small, to very tight security around this. This is what we applied for the personal smartphones, but then also we replicated this to all the enterprise smartphones, and we revalidated all the enterprise policies and found that there's also a lot to improve on this area. Like, for example, the update pushing, and this is something then we did. And in the end, what we found is, at the moment, a pure BYOD fleet, which I would like. So we just don't care. People bring their own stuff, and we just put a policy on it, finished. This is quite nice, and you give them a monthly fee or something like this. This is by far not possible at the moment. People tend to reject it. And if you provide a very nice and large enterprise fleet as we have it, and it just comes completely automated, no trouble, you get it, and then it's 100% controlled and stuff like that, and still people have freedom on the device, then they like this, and then they don't like to have their own device. So we actually made it so nice that people don't like to bring their own device anymore. So the trend for us is going towards company-owned devices. And people don't like to utilize their own, a lot of people don't like to utilize their own phone in the corporate environment, especially when working on the shop floor. Dropping it is causing issues and so on. So there is still a mix that we did see. Summarizing it, for our part, what we saw is when everything around devices needs automation. So in order to refocus, that's the last part, on user experience, what our focus is for sure. We shouldn't care about how the device is set up and how this works, because it should be automated. And then the second thing is you can only automate if you go towards a cloud-based stack, because if you have this on-premise, you need to take care about any type of patches, server maintenance, and stuff like this, and that just doesn't work, and then you cannot automate it. For us, then the security part came with the cloud focused stack, so meaning that everything around like device resiliency and making that redundant and so on comes with cloud for us. And of course, with a type of thinking, like what the hell could those people do potentially? And that also brings you into all the crazy things people could think about. And then in the end, as I was saying, we focus on user experience and not on the device as such anymore. That's it. Thank you.